right, I'm going to try to take this video rather quick. There's not a whole lot of space on this bridge that I'm standing at right now. This is on Townsend Avenue, right next to Townsend Leather. This is where the creek comes through into Johnstown. We've added Maylander tributary, and we've also added some storage areas up above off of the arterial. And they've added to the flow of the water. You can see this is a rather deep section, and the stream is flowing rather quickly. There's a lot of discharge here due to the rain that we've had. I'm not going to turn around and show you the other spot across the street where it goes underneath this bridge, only because there's a person's house that's real close and I just don't want to intrude on anybody's property. So this spot, again, we've increased another stream, so that's 3 tributaries now that we've added to the flow of this stream. There's a large storage area in the back of Townsend Leather, kind of a pond area that's absorbing a lot of the additional discharge here. So that's why it looks a little smaller, and it's shrunk a little bit in size. But you can see there's good stream bank management here, and we're holding it together. So I'm going to move on down to Miller and show you the bridge that fell down there. Okay, I did want to add this section. I'm actually a little bit behind the arterial, the back end to Sam's restaurant over here. And I did want to show you this little feature here. You can see that this stream is meandering big time through here, and it's actually left a sandbar in the center. You can see there's larger and smaller particles, and that stream is really cutting hard along the bank on the side over here. Obviously, outside of the bank is the cut area. Inside of the bank, inside stream is going to be where it's making its deposition, and you can see it makes a couple rather heavy S-turns through here. I know you can't see. I'm going to walk over here. A couple heavy S-turns through here as it heads for Miller Street. But you can definitely see where this has been cutting back, and obviously the S-turns over there, good indication that this is actually cutting through. Eventually what will happen is when this stream gets strong enough, and I'm going to go back over to the other side, but when this stream keeps over flooding and it keeps cutting back this bank right across there, it's going to drive itself right through there. It's going to leave this little island, almost like an oxbow lake type of thing, where it's going to leave this feature open here. It'll deposit and close off this section and close off over there, and it will drive itself straight through there. If we get a big flood, that actually may occur very rapidly, but right now it's definitely making some serious cuts back there, and it will drive itself through to the other side because it wants to find its straight path. Just a few hundred yards down the stream from where I just was is this place right here. It's the Miller Street Bridge. And they've since taken out the bridge. Obviously you can see, and it's closed. They have it actually closed off both directions so that people can't make the mistake of driving down through here. But it's been closed for quite a while. Bank stability was an issue, and the under part of the road was being cut out. I don't really think, although I'm sure there's a plan in place at some point in time to get this rebuilt, I really don't think it's going to happen. I think they're just going to keep this closed. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's, since they closed off that other side of the parking lot over there, there's really no need for this road to go through. So besides industry and maybe trucks turning around, other than that, they really don't need this. But you can see that's the downstream side of it, headed for Briggs Street, which is where I'll be next. And this abutment, you can see, has been fixed a couple times, but I don't think it's been fixed enough where you could actually drive a vehicle across it. If they were to put girders in here, there'd be quite a bit of work. But you can see how erosion affects the way we live and the way we do things, and it impacts how we set up our road systems and set up our bridges. And this water is going to run where it wants to run. I mean, we can hold it back a little bit and change its direction a little bit, but eventually, right, it wants to get back to where it was. And that's what I was saying up there with that meander. It's going to eventually try to cut straight through there again. So when you look at this stream, you've got to remember that it's, while it's not a living thing, it still has its own mind and really will go where that water wants to go. And, 100-year storms will push it there. If it doesn't get there by itself. So again, this is the Miller Street Bridge, where the bridge is down in Johnstown. and it's been down for a while. I really don't see any plans of rebuilding it, and there's really not a hot necessity to do that. So I think we're good with this bridge not being replaced and letting the stream flow to its natural direction. And I'll be on to Briggs Street. All right, just beyond the Miller Street Bridge, where the Miller Street Bridge is down, you can see that the flow coming through here is pretty steady. It's a much deeper part of the stream. It slows down quite a bit here because it's making this big turn to avoid Briggs Street, which is right behind me. And it makes a turn here and then horseshoes back around again. So this is kind of a big, huge meander, and a horseshoe back around behind there, and then come back down and across the bridge down underneath Briggs Street. But you can see there's quite a bit of water flowing through here. You can see as it comes in and approaches this area, how the water kind of pushes itself back and creates this slowdown and deepens the actual water here. And this is like I said, this is about 3 or 4 feet deep here, which is pretty deep for this stream. You can also see some of the road drainage coming in, or the storm drainage coming in from the side here, and that's kind of also playing a role in getting this to turn. But ultimately, again, it's making its way down to the ultimate goal, and that's into the Mohawk River, or Mohawk Stream, if you want to say it. And it actually makes this one S-turn coming out of here, and then we'll go back around another S-turn over there, and then additionally underneath the bridge. I'll walk down to the bridge in a second. Okay, so the far corner down there I just came from, I'm making my way down this little S-turn here. You can see, if you look close enough here in the water, you can see where this deposition is occurring on the inside of the corner, where it slows down quite a bit as it makes that turn, and then makes its way and meanders back along, and I'm gonna walk over here, but back along, and then underneath the Briggs Street Bridge there. You can see that there's an old wall over here that they put together to keep the stream from eroding its banks. You can see it's made out of what appears to be broken up sidewalk or broken up concrete as you look over there. And it's got a few pillars in there as well to hold that wall together. So it's quite a well-made structure, and that goes all the way up into the bridge. And if you look closely up there, you can see the drainage, some of the drainage from the stream coming down, or from the street coming down into there as well. So again, this is a huge meander right before the Briggs Street underpass, and how it travels underneath there. I'm here on the bridge by Johnstown Cemetery. You can see the cemetery behind me. The bridge is obviously closed off. The water from the Cayadutta is traveling underneath this bridge and makes its way over into the backside of a little bit of the backside of the cemetery, and then catches up with Hale Creek as it comes in, and then it will turn itself right back underneath the road over here underneath this bridge when they combine. So we're adding another tributary to the Cayadutta as it makes its way down through Johnstown out towards the treatment plant. I'll be on Main Street in a couple stops. I want to stop over where my street, the one that Matthew Creek comes down and meets up with the Cayadutta there. And then you'll see the difference between what we see here and what we see traveling underneath Main Street after we grab all those tributaries. Again, behind me, you can see where the stream came from. That's where we were in Briggs Street. And this is pretty well shored up, but you can see some of the banks have made their way, dished out a little bit when the storms are a little bit higher and the water becomes more present. And we have a big truck coming down through the road here. But again, right, it's pretty well stabilized here, and there's not a lot of debris and things in the water. There's not a lot of tear down of any of the walls or any of the soil on the sides. But they've done a good job with this, keeping this up. And it's a beautiful cemetery, by the way. If you ever have a chance to walk through here, it's established in 1847. So there are a lot of older graves in this as well. And there's a Civil War cemetery up further off of Market Street, just one street over, and that's a pretty cool cemetery too. Has some historical value to it. as well. Okay, so I'm done here at the cemetery bridge where the Cayadutta goes underneath the cemetery in Johnstown. I'm gonna head over to where Matthew Creek, the one that runs behind my house, meets up at the Cayadutta and adds more volume to it there. Okay, this is a real short stop here. I just wanted to show you where Matthew Creek, the one that flows behind my house, actually comes in and meets the Cayadutta here. And it makes a huge right-hand turn going down again towards the Main Street Bridge, is where we're gonna get to next. And you can see on the other side, this is where we just were over by the cemetery. And as it travels through here, again, the Matthew Creek comes right in here and makes its way into Cayadutta to increase our volume. All right, so here's the section that travels underneath Main Street. We've dropped about 60 feet from the last place we were at, so the water's starting to move a lot faster. We've increased our volume with the tributaries that we picked up from Matthew Creek and from Hale Creek up above. And so the additional water flow through here is increased. You can see this is a uniquely arch-shaped bridge that they put through here. Structural integrity increased by that arch shape. And they've done a nice job with this, shoring up the sides. You can see as we have the large boulders on the sides of each of the pillars, and that way it holds up the soil there and doesn't let the water undermine it when it goes into flood stage. But again, the elevation has dropped quite a bit here. I'm gonna go up on the bridge and we're gonna take a look from there. I don't know how well the video picks up how deep this is now, or how deep the actual valley floor of this is now. With the additional water that's coming through here and the speed that has increased due to that extra discharge has really cut down this stream into the lower end. We're obviously dropping in elevation as we go along. You can see off in the distance, the Cayadutta travels down through there. And this is on its way off to the water treatment plant. I've videotaped a few other sessions from in there for my classes, but I'm not gonna go down in there until I get down off of 334 and I get into Salmonsville. But you can see the amount of discharge has increased. Now this is the other side, or the opposite side of the stream that I was taking the video of the bridge. Again, a beautiful arch-shaped construction that increases the structurability of the actual bridge that I'm standing on. And they've done a nice job shoring up the sidelines of these areas as well to hold it back from erosion. And what a beautiful place this is to look. If you ever have a chance to go down and walk down the bike path goes all the way down to almost to the water treatment plant. It actually goes to that road, and you can take a right and walk your way down there if you'd like to. There's a bridge that crosses there as well that I'll be down on my next segment. I'm down underneath the bridge next to the water treatment plant for Johnstown and Gloversville. This is an area where the stream really is wide, not as deep. And you can see that the sections of bedrock are really close to the surface here, creating these ripples. And you can hear the roar of the stream behind me as it comes down through here. So again, it's a really wide space, not very deep. It can get deeper once the water gets higher and we get more discharge coming in and going downstream. But as this makes its way down, it makes a couple turns through some private land that I'm not going to be able to get access to. And then down into Salmonsville, where I'm going to try to see if I can get a couple videos down there across some of the bridges. But once we make it down into Salmonsville, then it's kind of the last hurrah until the Cayadutta runs right into the Mohawk. And I'll have shots from the mouth of the Mohawk and from one side and from the other as well. And then we'll head our way down the Mohawk to the Hudson. So again, this is the bridge right below the water treatment plant in Johnstown. It's for Johnstown and Gloversville. And you can see that this is a pretty wide section of stream as it travels through here, and it's allowed to continue on through the stream itself. So I will see you on the next trip. We'll be down in Salmonsville for the next videotaping, and we'll go from there. As I'm driving along this road, 334, the Cayadutta is off to my right-hand side. It's a ways off, but I just wanted to show you the elevation change here as we make our way down into Salmonsville. It's quite a huge drop in elevation, and therefore the Cayadutta will be picking up a lot of speed coming through here. It also picks up another creek down here in Salmonsville. As we travel along this road, you'll see a couple of them come in. Here's one coming in across this bridge here and making its way down. And we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop on Cummins Road as we get down a little further. I've made my way down to Salmonsville, and I definitely wanted to show you this. This is Wemple and Edict's Old Fashioned Ice Cream. A great place to go during the summer. It usually opens on Mother's Day. I think this is going to be the first time since my kids were born 15 years ago that it hasn't been open on Mother's Day. But anyway, this is that Old Fashioned Ice Cream place. But I'm going to go down the road here, and I'm going to show you once the Cayadutta crosses the bridge down here. There's a lot of private land, and so I won't access the land. But I want to show you how this stream, a beautiful run down through here, down through the town of Mohawk into Fonda. So I wanted to make sure I caught this on video as we go down through. And literally just down the road is where the Cayadutta crosses the bridge, or crosses underneath this bridge right here as we make it across. So you might be able to pick it out a little bit, but you can see well, you can't really see it. But anyway, as we make our way down through here, all along the right side is where the Cayadutta is until it crosses further down. But it's quite a good stretch, about a mile or two down through here, down through the town of Mohawk in the county of Montgomery. And I'll point out things as I go along. You're going to start seeing the creek come up on the right hand side off in the distance, and should be able to pick up glimpses of it now. And you can see it's pretty wide based again, but we're dropping elevation. This is probably a 2 or 3% grade, flattens out a little bit here, and they've done a great job with the construction over here, putting a wall up so that it doesn't tear away this section of the road. You can see the boulders that they put there, and you can see how it makes its way behind the houses here. Again, it'll appear on our right side once we get by these houses. Here it comes back into view, and like I said, this is a beautiful section of the Cayadutta as it makes its way down into Fonda. Really just at the end of the village of Fonda. You can see some stream bank erosion back right over there as it makes its turn. Makes another turn here towards the road, and then goes back away from us. It's going to go underneath the road up further. It goes underneath the bridge. You can see how it comes close to the road again. They put boulders along the side of the road here to keep the erosion from happening. Remember, outside of the turn of the creek, or outside that meander, it's going to cut. And so they've shored that up so that they don't lose any more soil and don't lose that actual road through there. And again, you can see some of the steepness of the hillsides on the side here. This is a bridge that goes underneath, and then it makes its way on the left-hand side. And I'll be up on Commons Road pretty soon taking a look at that. All right, here I am on Commons Road Bridge. It's a one-way bridge, or one-directional bridge. And you can see that we take a major drop in elevation here. You've got some pretty waterfalls here. They cascade down along the more resistant bedrock as it comes down through, so it will continue to break that bedrock down. So these falls will change year after year, but you can see how intense this is. Large stream bed, very fast moving water, continuously cutting down, and it makes a huge drop here. I'm gonna see if I can get down closer in a minute. See if I can take a look underneath the bridge, because there's another drop after this one. You can see how it pans out a little bit here, and then underneath the bridge it'll go underneath another set of falls. But what a pretty spot this is. Not much access to it, unfortunately. I guess you could set up a chair or a blanket along the bank over there maybe, but a great spot. Again, this is in the town of Mohawk, just outside of Fonda, where the Cayadutta is about to enter the Mohawk. All right, this is about as close as I can get. As you can see, here's another huge section of waterfalls where the bedrock that's a little bit more resistant is not breaking down as fast as the rest, but it's a huge drop again. So from the top of the first set of falls to about here, we dropped about 15 to 20 feet of elevation. So the slope has drastically increased. You can see that the volume of water that's traveling across here from up above, from Gloversville, from Johnstown, all the way back to that first swamp, beaver swamp we were at, where the source was, up towards Peck's Lake. And you can see how this travels down, and it flattens out a little bit more as it goes down, and there's like a little island where the stream has kind of diverged its way around different spots. I'll zoom in a little bit. As you can see that island out there, and the stream has made its way around the two different spots. Now, there's a cool little feature over here where the stream has expanded itself out into a calmer set of water. I would imagine probably some of the locals during the summer will swim in this section. But this is an area where you're going to find your finer particulates actually settling out in this section. So some of the dynamics of the stream up above that obviously are moving much faster than, and they're carrying silt and larger rocks as they move down, pebbles and even boulder size pieces are making their way down the stream. But the fine particulates that are getting pushed out into this section are going to be able to be settled. And that may cause either, if clay falls out, it may cause shale formation in 1,000 or 10,000 years or so, possibly even some siltstone or some sandstone over there. But you can see right at my feet here, you can see where the sand is settling out. Right in this shallow section here. And you can see that the sand will settle out as the speed, right, coming into this area slows down. It will drop its larger particles first, and then the finer particles out farther. So it's kind of a neat little spot here where it's kind of slowed down and kind of pushed its way into an area where it can almost like a lagoon type feature where that sand and silt can settle out. So again, this is the fall section off of Commons Road. And again, 15 to 20 feet drop probably here between where we were on the other side of the bridge and this location. Now I'm going to head down to see if I can get to the mouth where the actual stream, the Cayadutta, enters the Mohawk. All right, so here it is. I'm down at the place where the Cayadutta meets the Mohawk. As you can see, there's a lot of fine sand and fine silt and clay material that's laid out here. This is a very flat area where the creek has obviously made its way back and forth across this section many times, laying down silt and clay materials with the very fine pieces of material that are coming down this stream. You can see over on the other side where there's been erosion occurring all the way along the length of that as the stream moves back and forth at the mouth. Remember, that's a lot of times that's what happens when you have this, horizontal motion. You can see a lot of debris out in here where it's kind of made its way around. So it's making its way around other parts and making the deposits as it slows down. They've taken some kind of structure here and built it up so that it kind of moves that creek in a different direction. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to save this bank section over here where you can see some of the particulate is laid out. When the stream is obviously moving much faster, it actually covers this area, but it will slow down as it enters the Mohawk. And you can see the Mohawk out here in all its glory, coming down through Canajoharie being up that direction, and then Amsterdam being the other way. And so this is where it is. This is where the actual Cayadutta, right, meets the Mohawk. And there's a lot of different features down here. And I'm going to take a look around and take some snapshot photos of some stuff. So again, we're where the Cayadutta meets the Mohawk, and it's found its journey, and now we'll head down towards Albany.